Welcome back to my channel, guys. So today we'll be learning how to make a short bubu dress with side drawstring. So for this style, we'll be needing our length, your shoulder measurement, and your sleeve measurement. That is what you'll be needing. So what you are going to fold, you fold your fabric into two. You calculate your shoulder measurement and your sleeve measurement and use it to fold your fabric. Now let's assume your shoulder measurement is 15. 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. So from that 7.5 points, you measure your sleeve length. For me, I'll be using 16 as my sleeve length. I'll use 16 as my sleeve length, as you can see. Then I will add my 1.5-inch allowance. The reason why I'm adding 1.5 is because I'll be folding it inside, okay? You see what I'm talking about when we are ready to cut. So that is what you are going to use to fold your fabric. And you can as well cut both the front and the back piece together. Your shoulder measurement plus your sleeve length and allowance, that is what you are going to use to fold your fabric. After that, you go ahead to determine your dress length. Your dress length is where you want your dress to be at the front part. You can see that the side is shorter. It's going to be shorter after you must have used the string to draw it up. Okay, so you are going to measure where you want your dress to be at the front part. And for me, I want my dress to be 36 at the front part, but I'll be adding 2 inches to it because I want to have more ruched at the side. That is why I'm adding 3 inches to it. This 2 inches is optional, okay? So I'll be adding 2 inches to it. Then I will add my seam allowance, which is 1.5. So after doing that, just go ahead and create your neckline. For me, I'll be using the width of my neckline is going to be 4.5 and the length of my neckline is going to be 9.5. So I'll connect it together in form of a V shape. I'll connect it with my ruler in a V shape. We're almost done with the cutting of this particular dress. It is a very simple dress, very a beginner friendly dress. So I'm gonna have to mark my neckline, then I'll cut it out now. Remember, if you are folding both your front and fabric together like mine, do not cut same neckline for both front and back, except if you are going to be using the same neckline. But if you are not going to be using the same neckline, please bear in mind that you'll be cutting the front neckline first before the back neckline so that you will not make mistake. So after that, I'll go ahead and determine my back neck depth. I'll be using 2 inches for my back neck depth. Then I'll connect it to my back neck width. Then I'll cut it out. After cutting out the neckline, I want to determine the opening I want for my sleeve. So for me, I want the opening of my sleeve to be 11 inches. So I mark 11 inches plus half inch. I mark 11 inches, the opening I want for my sleeve plus half-inch seam allowance. You know, you are going to be joining it by the shoulder. So I'm going to be marking, let me mark 12 inches. So I'll just go ahead and notch that point. I'll just notch it a bit. That's all. So I want to trim off the excess I have on my fabric now. The next thing I'm going to do now is to reduce my length. You know that I added 2 inches to the length of my dress. So I'll be reducing it at the front part, which is the folded part, both the center front and the center back. So I'll be reducing it by the allowance that I added, which is 2 inches. Then I'll come in by, let's say, 9 to 10 inches. So from that 9 to 10 inches point, I'll use a straight ruler to connect it back to my length by the side. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So just place your ruler like so. You can see that this is my 2 inches point and this is where I stop, which is 9 inches. So from this 9 inches point, it will be tilting towards towards outside. So the first thing I'll do is to connect those lines together at that point. So I'll take it back to this 9 inches point, then I'll slant my ruler like this so that it's going to meet up with the side. Okay. You know that the main purpose of this is I want more featured at the side of the dress. That is why I added 2 inches to it. This is optional. You might not want to add 2 inches to your own. You might decide to just cut your own as the length of your dress. So this is optional. So I'll go ahead and cut it out now. As you can see, we have a slanted line at the hem line. This does not matter because at the end of the day, this side is going to be draw up. So the slanting is not going to show. Okay, the slanting effect is not going to show by the time you have used the rope to draw the side of the dress. And you can also decide to reduce the body of the dress, that is the width of the dress at the lower part. But what you're going to do, you want to do that is you start your reduction after the point you want your sleeve opening to be. Now for me, this is where my sleeve opening is going to be. So you can start your reduction, let's say 1 inch after that point, then you start your reduction. You can just do something like this if you do not want it to be so bogus as it is in this picture you are seeing here. So you can just reduce it like this, place your ruler in a slanted form, then reduce it as you wish. So that is all about the cutting of this dress. Let's go to the sewing machine. So to cut out the string, that is the rope you are going to use, you measure from your sleeve opening, the remaining measurement you have from your sleeve opening to your hem line, you can add about 7 to 10 inches to it. Then you cut it out on fold. You cut out 2.5 inches. Okay. So for me, my the remaining measurement after my sleeve opening is 25. So I'll be adding 10 inches to 25, which is going to give me 35. So I'll mark the 35 points like this. Then let me cut this out first. Then I'll mark 2.5 inches. I'll be cutting out 2.5 inches straight in order to create the rope. But yeah, bear in mind that you are going to be making 4 ropes. So for me to cut this now, you know that I've already doubled my fabric here. So I'll fold this into two. Then I'll mark 2.5. Then I'll cut it out so that I will cut the 4 ropes out at the same time. So I'll go ahead and pin it down. Then I'll continue to mark my 2.5 inches measurement. Then I'll cut out. So you are going to be cutting out 4 ropes, okay? And you might decide to add more than 10 inches to your to the length, okay? To the rope. You might decide to add more than 10 inches to it. It all depends on you. But 10 inches is fine because at the end of the day, you are still going to be reducing the side of the dress. By the time you draw it up, the size of the dress is going to reduce. So it's going to make your rope longer. So and the rope is not supposed to be too long. So the first thing you're going to do when you want to sew is to turn your fabric with your facing. Right side will be facing right side. And if you want to use bias to do that, you can go ahead and use bias to do that. So I'll go ahead and turn my both front and back piece now with the facing. I'm just turning the leg. The next thing is to join the shoulder together. So if you add facing to your own like mine, so go ahead to turn it together. You place your fabric right side facing right side. Then you use one of the facing. You can see that this is one of the facing to turn it in order to close up this seam line around that place. This does not really matter because at the end of the day, we are still going to have enough seam line. So you just have to interlock it. But this is the way I'm doing mine. So I'm just joining my neckline. So this place that I turn is the seam line there is invisible, it's closed off. So the next thing you are going to do after joining your shoulder together is to fold your hem line. You need to fold your hem line before you join it by the side. You know that normally we usually join our bodies by the side before you fold the hem line. But for this particular one, you fold your hem line before you join it by the side. If you are yet to subscribe to my channel, kindly subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so that you can be notified when I drop new videos. Your subscription is the power that will make me do more. Thank you. So after folding your hem line, the next thing is to join it by the side. So So when you want to join it by the side, remember the notch we did here for the sleeve opening. That is where you are going to start from. And I'll be joining the side by 1.5 inch. And join it by 1.5 or 1 inch. Okay, but I'm using 1.5. The reason why you have to use between 1 inch to 1.5 inches because of the folding you are still going to do by the end. And the casing you are still going to do throughout the rope for the dress. So this is what I have after joining the side, and this is the sleeve opening. So I'm gonna like to pin the sleeve opening down at the beginning of the stitching. Can you see? So I'll go ahead and sew it. I'm going to be folding this in order to form a case. So this is where we will be passing our rope through. So I'll sew it all around to form a case. So you're going to open it up like this, then you fold. You can see the reason why I join it by 1.5. Because if you join it by half and inch, you won't be able to fold it. So whatever you do for this side, you do it for the second side. So this is what I have after stitching down my seam allowance. That is the opening that we are going to pass the rope through. And I'll go ahead and iron it and do the same for the second side. And go ahead and fold my rope. You can fold your rope in two ways. The first one is to fold it like this. You fold it twice and you place them on each other like this. That's you're folding it three times and you sew all down. And the second one is you fold it into two, then you run your stitch all the way down, then you turn it out with your loop turner. Either ways is fine, but for me I'll be making use of the first method, and I'll fold it in like this in order to close up the edges. Then I'll do that for the four strips. We are working with four strips, so I will do that for the four strips. My ropes are ready. The next thing to do is to pass the rope to the seam allowance that we stitch down. So I'll be passing it through the opening at the down part. Then I'll pass it all the way to the beginning of the sleeve opening. When we started opening our sleeve, that is where I will pass it to. So when I get to the sleeve opening here, I will make a little incision over there so that I'll be able to remove my pin, because as it is now the pin is still inside. So I will make the incision, then I'll pin down the rope inside um the opening so that it's not going to shift by the time I want to remove my pin. So after pinning down the rope, I'll go ahead and remove the pin. I'll push it backward like I'm doing in this video. I'm going to push it backward and remove it. Then I'll go ahead and insert the second rope into the hole that we created, and I will do the same for the second rope also. I'm done passing the second rope inside it. Then I'll go ahead and pin it down in order to stitch it down. But before then, I'll push in the remaining part of the rope inside in order to keep it secured so that it is not going to show. Then after pushing both of them inside, I'll go ahead and use my lighter to burn any thread that is around that place to make my work clean. I'll make sure that I did not burn the fabric. Then after that, I'll go ahead and stitch it down in order to secure it, and I'll reverse it as I reverse it as many times as possible. So I'll go ahead and do the same thing for the second side also. I'll do the same thing for the second side also, and our dress is ready.